Well, we're here in the company of an old friend of Sports Vibe, Mark Foster. Nice to see him with his shirt on. Nice to see him not dancing for a second. And you better explain why we're here in your good company today.
I'm going to say why I've got my clothes on.
Well, that as well, if you like.
I'm here today promoting the launch of SwimBritain, which is British Gas's initiative to try and get more and more people swimming. And it's one of these shocking facts that you find that over a quarter of the working population spend half of their working day, or half of the day, sat down. And if you equate that over the year, that's virtually a third of the year actually sat down. That might be commuting to work, sitting at work, etc., etc., which I find shocking in itself. And I think the thing is, from my point of view, being a good swimmer, ex-swimmer, and knowing the health and the social benefits you get from swimming, it's their push. There's going to be a big event for SwimBritain, which is about giving yourself a challenge to go and do a swimming event, because I think a lot of people always need a goal and something to work towards, and it's a team event where 4 people get involved. So when you've got a challenge and you can get together with your friends and make it a social event and realise the social and health benefits that come on the back of it, it's about getting more and more people in the water.
Well, I mean, I'm aware of these figures as well, and they are shocking. And it's also shocking how many people actually can't swim more than sort of a length of a swimming pool. It's not just about keeping you fit. It's actually, in some cases, saving lives, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if you think we're an island nation, and if you think we're surrounded by water, I know we're not Australian, we don't have the weather for it, but everybody, and I make the statistic up, but about, if you think 95% of the population, when they go on holiday, will go to the water. They'll either go to a sunny country and be by the sea, or they'll go to a sunny country and be by a swimming pool. And I just can't imagine being a parent and sitting there and looking over your shoulder and constantly wondering whether your kids are safe by the water, and the kid won't be able to enjoy themselves because they're not confident in the water. And on the flip side of that, I think even for kids look at parents, and I think if your parents enjoy the water and go in the water more often, then kids are more inclined to do it. Whereas if you sort of sit back and no, I don't go in there because you've got no confidence or you can't swim. So I think you need to look at yourself first and foremost, because children do look up to their parents. Look after yourself, and then the kids sort of follow it. And I think my big thing is your health is your wealth, because if you've not got any health, you're dead. And I think we just need to start and look back at the basics. It's whether it be running, cycling, and a lot of people overlook swimming because they think they don't get a workout in the water. And it's something like if I swim at a reasonable pace, it's equivalent to running 8 miles an hour. So you do burn calories, and more than anything, from my point of view, with the sight, the sound, and the feel of the water, it's a relaxing environment to be in. And a lot of people have stress at work, etc., etc. And you put your head in the water, and sort of everything goes away. Take yourself from my point of view, it does. You take yourself to a nice, relaxing environment.
Well, actually, who doesn't feel better when they've had a swim? You do, don't you? Especially when you've had a shower and you're feeling, your whole body feels a little bit more toned up, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it's one of these things when we're on holiday, everyone loves going for a dip. Whether some of the time it might be that it's boiling hot outside and they just want to get in the water and cool off in a sense. But if you think your body's full of sensors.
Do you love going for a dip, by the way? If I went on holiday and you're on the beach and I had a swim with you, would it be a dip or would it be a stupid race?
I'd always get in and have a dip, and occasionally people will say to me, Mark, we need a wave machine so you can go a bit faster for us, can you? But
right.
No, I like getting in the water. It's not just practice what you preach. The reason why I continued until 38 years of age is because I love what I did.
Yeah,
I love it.
Now, why now? I mean, something like this it's massively important, and there's always a good time to do this. But I mean, are we still? I think we're still very much in the throes of the Olympic legacy, and it is important to make sure that it wasn't a 2.5-week event, isn't it?
No, absolutely. I mean, British Gas got involved with British Swimming in 2009, sponsoring and supporting British Swimming in a sense, and their connection with, and this is a big part of what I do is, one of my things is about legacy and about getting people involved in sport and in the water. And if you think with corporate responsibilities of big companies, this is one thing they're going, okay, let's try and get the nation fit and healthy in the water. And I think swimming is, and I can honestly say this, I think it's the best form of exercise that there is, because you don't get in that impact from running or any of the other sports. And I'm not saying they're bad, but I think swimming's the best sport from that point of view. But on the back of the Olympics, and everyone talks about legacy, this part of the legacy is trying to get people in the water. And we do have a lot of swimming pools all over the country, and why don't people use them? I think a lot of people either make excuses or put things in the way, and sometimes there are, life does get in the way, but some of the time it's about making, an hour, 45 minutes, half an hour for yourself. Because if you can't make time for yourself, you can make time for. So the legacy part is very, very important, and I think every sport is making a push towards trying to get more and more people doing their sport.
Now, you're not a man known to mince his words, Mark. Swimming's taken a little bit of a battering, not swimming, the swimming we're talking about today, but swimming at the highest level. And of course, you know, it didn't help the fact that so many other sports did so well at the Olympics, so therefore it contrasted even more. So come on then, what is the state of British swimming at the highest level in terms of the sport? It's
in good shape. If you look at the actual Olympics across the board, if we look back to 2000 in Sydney, so 12 years ago until London, in Sydney we had 8 finalists. No medals, 8 finalists. I know we had a great Olympics in Beijing 4 years ago and we got 6 medals, but if you go from 8 finalists in 2000, this year we had 23 finalists. We got 3 medals, but it's then making those, you know, I think we're 5 or 6 fourths. It's making those fourths into thirds, into seconds, into firsts, making the finalists into medalists. And the difficult point with swimming, and you see it an awful lot in athletics as well, is the whole world swim and the whole world do athletics. And I think it's one of these difficult situations, and it's not sour grapes, it's just pointing out the obvious. You know, when America concentrates on the sport, more often than not they come first and second in it because they can enter 2 people. So you know, you, a lot of the time, and depending on what the event it is, you're battling for 3rd place. But Michael Phelps, Ryan Lochte in a race, you've only got 1 medal available. So you know, we are in a sport where America do it, China do it, they concentrate very much so, Australia, every nation.
Well, a lot of random individuals. I mean, you're swimming against the whole world now, aren't you? Which maybe you weren't 12, 16 years ago.
No. And I think what's happened is the world has opened up in the sense that all the South Americans, most of the top South Americans, train in America. A lot of the top Europeans train in America. They all feed on the collegiate system in America and train with the best guys in America, and sometimes they beat them. But I mean, one thing we don't do in this country is, I don't think we use the American system enough.
Now, with regard to both the highest level, but also what we're talking earlier with the British Gas project that we've been talking about today, we've got another fantastic peg just around the corner. We have a Commonwealth Games in this country. In Britain. Scots will say in Scotland, but in Britain. So that's a wonderful peg, isn't it? For at all levels, really, and it's a great opportunity again to showcase the sport.
What the Olympics did for me, and I think, you know, the public always talk about the Olympic Games. And I think all of a sudden everyone loves football, and I think in this country we're a football mad country, which I think is lovely sometimes, but also there's an awful lot of other sports out there. The Olympic Games gave those sports a chance to shine, and so does the Commonwealth Games. And I think, you know, I go around to an awful lot of schools now and talk to a lot of kids, and when you say who wants to be an Olympian, all of them put their hand up. Before, years ago, I said who wants to be an Olympian, they might have gone, what's an Olympian? You know, they didn't get the connection Olympian, Olympics. They probably never even watched the Olympics before it came to the UK. So what we need to do is use the sport being in the spotlight and, you know, in people's minds to get more and more people involved. And this is my cheesy analogy. If you think of a skyscraper, you know, at the top of the skyscraper is people like David Beckham, Rebecca Adington, Tom Daley. You know, highlight what's possible with the human body in sport. But the big part, the bit that matters, is the foundations. You know, without some of the, you know, without the mass amount of people that get into sport, some of those will trickle to the top and be the good and the great. But we need to get more and more people involved in sport. So we get the great, but also more importantly, it's about the social and sort of health benefits of sport.
Now, finally, Fozzie, every time I see you on Twitter, and unfortunately I see you a lot on Twitter, you are the busiest man in the world. You're opening this, you're talking here, you're launching this, you're dancing.
You know, clothes on most of the time.
Not always, but most of the time. Briefly, because we've, you know, perhaps in the next 3 hours you could just outline what you're up to. Apart from this.
I do motivational speaking, so corporate motivational speaking, and go into the corporate world and relate experiences from the sports world into the corporate world, goal setting, setbacks, etc., etc. Another thing I do is I'm actually, and I can't really launch it with you at the moment, but I'm creating a dance style program called Fit Steps.
Oh, okay.
Which is with Natalie Lowe and Ian Waite. They're doing all the choreography to the music, and you get to learn waltz, cha-cha, fit steps, jive, and all the rest of it. We're doing that. Well,
that really was a game changer for you, wasn't it? The whole Strictly experience.
Thing. Yeah, no, I think more than anything, I think, you know, it's like with swimming. Swimming is a great form of exercise, as is athletics, as is cycling. You know, but dance is another form of exercise. Of
course it is.
And I think, you know, there are people that specifically love dance classes, so let's target them and try it. My big thing is, and then you've probably seen me on the tube and on the back of buses, I am the world man, and I think that's my sort of that's my label. I think I just need to sort of spread the word about how wonderful it is to be fit and healthy. Okay, final thing. I've asked you this question many times, and you're the only person in the world I can think of I would ask this question to, a grey-haired guy in his 40s. Is that about a comeback, probably?
There we go. Have you definitely Definitely retired.
The trunks are dry and they're hung up.